Lawmakers debated two bills today to toughen penalties for fentanyl traffickers. It's one of Governor Mike Parson's goals in this year's legislative session. The lawmakers considered two bills. One would lower the amount of fentanyl that's considered a felony amount. Right now, someone found with more than 10 milligrams of the opioid would be charged with a felony. This bill would lower it to 3 milligrams. Another bill would raise the severity of the criminal charges for people found trafficking.
It is crazy dangerous. Synthetics such as fentanyl and carfentanil can kill you, and I hope our first responders and the public will read and take heed of our health and safety warnings. These men and women have remarkably difficult jobs, and we need to keep them healthy and well.
In 2022, nearly 2,200 Missourians died from drug overdoses. Roughly 70% of those deaths came from opioids like fentanyl, according to state data.